Get close everybody because they will be playing a game called Casey's Very Bad Day. Let's start. Let's go. Sigh. Roll over and burrow comfortably in the duvet, relishing the warm feeling of the Saturday morning sunlight on your face. I swear that today your bed feels even comfier than usual. It's the weekend. Ugh, you can say that again. The weekend makes me feel weakened. Hey. That means that for 2 whole blissful days there'll be no more Katie the bitch from hell and her cronies, no more Mrs. Gordon, no more getting started with algebra, just 2 whole days of sweet, sweet freedom. School days are the best days of your life, right? Sure. Yeah, right, you snort. Anything is better than being stuck in that hellhole, fighting to stay awake with all of the strength you have. Straining to even keep your eyes open. Staring at the clock hanging on the wall and feeling your brain slowly melt into mush. Tick, tick, tick. Guess I should really be thinking about getting up. You say it aloud to no one in particular, trying to will yourself out of the soft cocoon of bed and into the cruel spring air. After all, you have a busy day today. A busy day of Saturday morning TV, video games, and junk food. Not forgetting, of course, hanging out at Beth's house later. If only you didn't have to look after your little sister and her bratty friends first. Lame. Whatever, the usual babysitting strategy will suffice. Load them up on caffeine and sugar and barricade yourself upstairs in your bedroom to rack up your phone bill. Meowing. When you finally flutter your eyes open for real this time, it takes a moment for your sleep-addled brain to notice that anything is wrong. The ceiling is just the same, tasteful off white matte with garden variety hanging pendant light vaguely positioned in the center. When you roll over though, you realize that something feels off, although you can't put your finger on exactly what. Everything seems sorta hazy. It looks just like a standard bedroom should look. A little untidy but not overly so, with an assortment of posters scattered across the 4 walls bearing smiling celebrities and cartoon mascots. There's a conveniently small wooden nightstand on your right beside the bed with a posable daisy desk lamp sitting on top, next to a glass of water and a folded up copy of That's Crush. A large but not imposing metal bookshelf stands against the wall opposite of the end of the bed, filled with aggressively grown up, gritty, mature crime fiction titles that only a preteen who wanted to show off would own. There's a standard looking airing cupboard in the far corner of a soft looking, lilac dressing gown hanging on the back of the door. Scanning the room, you feel a vague sense of unease. Feels like it should be your bedroom, but is it? If this is your room, why doesn't it feel like home? It feels familiar as you cast your eyes across each wall, like a bedroom from a beloved frequently watched movie or a TV show. Somehow though, at the same time, when you focus your eyes on any single object, it almost seems to blur and shift flatly in front of you, like staring at a magic eye puzzle too long and watching it turn back into a pattern on a page. As if whoever's causing this illusion doesn't quite understand the details well enough to produce something wholly authentic, and is glossing over simple details and just hoping that no one will look closely enough at anything to notice. You pull down the duvet and slide out of bed, slipping your feet into a pair of fluffy pink slippers you assume are yours. The carpet feels strange and sort of warm, almost organic, under your slippered feet. You crouch down and gingerly prod the soft pile. It feels like a normal carpet, but when you lift your finger away, it leaves a greasy sheen on your skin. Gross. Don't want to touch that again in a hurry. Something is definitely not normal here. Just as you stand back up, a folded sheet of paper on the desk in the corner catches your eye. Better check that out, you think, and walk over to the other side of the room. When you pick up the note, you find it blank except for a short paragraph scrawled messily in the center of the page. Mama's coming. When the clock strikes 9, you'll know what to do. Go through the door and we can go home. What? What could this mean? Mama's coming? Who is Mama anyway? The word sounds familiar to you somehow, but for some reason, you're drawing to a total blank. What does it mean you'll know what to do? You don't understand. This whole thing seems like some kind of crazy dream, or one of those camp horror novels that you're definitely too old for, but secretly still love anyway. You decide to head on downstairs or at least check out the rest of the house, but when you pad over to the door and try the handle, you find it locked. Strange. Normally, you just show me it was Robbie playing a dumb prank or a run-off-the-mill problem with the lock and just shrug and call on your mother, but today feels different. Somehow you know that for whatever reason something is trying to keep you here, and you know that you have to make yourself scarce before you find out what that reason actually is. The window that opens you onto the roof below looks like it opens fairly wide, so you're pretty sure you could climb out, but on the other hand, it would be pretty dangerous. Not to mention, at least if you stay inside, you know that it feels relatively safe in here, whereas there could be anything outside waiting for you. You can also make out the sound of an air vent from the inside of the airing closet. You remember all those spy movies you used to watch as a kid where the clever and resourceful hero would outsmart the blundering villain by crawling unseen through the ventilation system to safety? Then again, that also sounds pretty dangerous and also dusty. You have no idea if something like that would even work in real life, much less if you have the physical strength to pull it off. Actually, come to think of it, neither of those options sounds safer than just staying put and waiting it out here. At least this place feels like a comfortable bedroom, and you're almost positive that the weird feelings this place is giving you are all just in your mind. Maybe it would be a better idea just to curl back up in the warm bed and see if you feel better after some more rest, or at least wait it out for a while to see if maybe things start to feel more normal. You decide to climb out the window. You take a deep breath and yank open the bedroom window. Taking the cold morning air into your lungs, you look down. Doesn't seem so bad, you think. You'd never been particularly frightened of heights, but climbing out the window of a second-story room would be enough to put fear in anyone. Gulp. Well, then I guess it's time to do it. You say it aloud to no one in particular. Steeling yourself, you turn to face away from the window and lift one leg back. You follow it with the other, inclining out of the window bit by bit until your lower body is fully outside. You grip the window ledge tightly and start to lower yourself down until you can barely feel the slanted roof beneath your feet, and then let go of the ledge. Phew, that wasn't so awful, you lie to yourself. You feel some of the thin tiles crack and slip away under your feet, clearly not designed to take the weight of a person. For a short, horrible moment, you lose your balance and are filled with terror as you envision your body flopping limply, like a rag doll, down the roof and hitting the concrete far below with a thick, sickening, fleshy smack. You desperately flail your arms and stick out your chest in hopes of regaining your center of gravity. Fortunately, you fall towards onto the slope of the roof, smacking your chin and ego on the tiles but otherwise coming away unharmed. After taking a moment to recover and get your breath back, you consider your situation. Okay, fine, this was a terrible idea. Now it's terrifying and you already regret it. Even so, you're already glad to be out of that weird, wrong room. You shudder. Just breathing the cool air outside is already starting to calm you down. You swivel around and take in your surroundings. You landed on a wide slanted stretch of roof below the bedroom window, about halfway between the bottom of the roof and the peak. Looking up, you can see that on the roof just before the peak there is a black shiny rectangle. A window? Upon closer inspection, you discover that the black rectangle looks to be a window for some kind of attic or boiler room, open just a crack to let out steam. Maybe the power supply for the house is in there? Whatever this house is, it's still a house, so naturally, it must need power, right? Maybe if you can find some way to cut off the power supply, you'd be able to outsmart whoever's running this place and try to escape. The window is short and wide and looks more than big enough for you to slip through easily. Plus, any strategy that doesn't involve leaping out of bedroom windows and potentially falling to your doom is more than welcome news in your book. Even if the attic-looking window is kinda creepy, at least it doesn't involve risking ending up splattered like a bug on the concrete garden path below. Then again, come to think of it, since you already fell off a fair distance, maybe it wouldn't be so far to travel for you to make your way from here down to the porch roof. You can see the top of a drain pipe affixed to the corner of the roof you're currently sat on from the gutters. It looks pretty sturdy, and you would guess that it continues down to the gutters on the top of the porch roof. You could probably use it to climb the short distance down to the smaller porch roof, and from there easily jump down to the ground or perhaps gain access to some of the other rooms on the first floor of the house. You realize that you better decide quickly anyway. This roof doesn't seem like it's the steadiest place to sit, and besides, the sooner you can find a way out of this nightmare, the better. Timidly, you push yourself up onto your feet and... Let's see... Climb down the drain. You decided to grab onto the drain at the edge of the house and shimmy down into the roof of the porch. You really didn't want to risk trying the attic, and after the leap of faith you just took out the bedroom window, this small drop seems like a piece of cake. You cast your eyes over the garden beneath. It looks pretty ordinary, a wide, soft-looking mossy lawn with a few shrubs scattered here and there, with a few seasonal flowers arranged tastefully at the edges. You don't recognize it as home exactly, but it looks like it could be somebody's home. Well, you think you've pretty much begun to accept that whatever is going on here, it is definitely not home. From your vantage point at the top of the roof, you can see that the house seems to be surrounded by grassy fields in a direction except for one slightly neglected looking country road winding out to the north at the back of the house. Going through the fields is definitely not an option. You already have a pretty poor sense of direction as it is, and you know that trying to make your way through the tall grasses would only result in getting lost. This is definitely not the sort of place you want to risk getting lost in. If you want to try running away from the house, realistically, the country road would be your only option. You're certain that if you keep running far enough that you'll run into someone that can help. Even just a bus stop would be enough, just something or someone that could take you far away from this place. As a general rule, getting very far from weird and scary places as fast as possible is always a good thing, you think. On the other hand, who knows what else awaits you in this alien place? If this house alone is bad enough, what's to say that the abandoned-looking creepy country road wouldn't be even worse? You shudder to imagine walking along that road at night, for God knows how long, until potentially maybe fighting civilization or something much worse. You can see the open window of the house's master bedroom from here, and it would be pretty easy to just climb across and sneak inside. Maybe wherever Mama is, that could be her base of operations. Sneaking in there during the daytime when she's presumably not asleep could be a way to gather some clues to find some information about what's even going on here. Besides, no matter what happens, you reason, there's nothing stopping you from coming back out and booking it down the path if it does turn out to be a dead idea. Either way, you'd better think quickly. After the roof incident, the sooner you can feel some firm, flat surface under your tennis shoes, the better. You decide to climb to the master bedroom window. The last thing you want is to get lost in the middle of a creepy cornfield. Whatever is in here is weird enough, and you don't want to take your chances with running off into the middle of nowhere or worse. Now your best bet is definitely check out what looks to be the master bedroom and see if you can find some clues as to what exactly is going on and who exactly is even living here, not to mention what the hell you're doing in a place like this in the first place. Carefully pick your steps across the roof of the porch, over towards the open window. Is this what you call a descriptive visual novel? Kinda boring. You take a quick peek through the half-open blinds just to check that coast is clear, and then grab a hold of the wide window ledge and vault yourself up inside. In hindsight, this was a poorly thought out move, and you soon realize this when you crash straight through the open window onto the floor and smack onto your face. Oopsie. Whatever. You adjust yourself and try to look dignified in getting back up onto your feet. Ouch. It's hard to tell what hurts more between your face and your pride. You quickly stand up and decide to get to work. Okay, now if I were single, middle-class eldritch horror, 1000-something-year-old lady, where would I hide my top-secret ultimate weapons? You know, just in case of the occasional emergency suicidal thought? Okay, so you're not likely to find any of those, but you can dream. You hear a strange clattering coming from the air vent grate, but there's no obvious way to climb, so you don't really have a way to check it out. Probably a mouse, you think. Any monster small enough to scuttle around an air vent is not going to be that big of a threat, so you pay it no mind and get back to your plan. Let's start with the closet. Everyone keeps WMD there, right? You rifle through an array of tastefully coordinated garments in neutral tone size, amorphous demon. Besides the varying ratio of armholes to garments, nothing seems particularly interesting here. Better check someplace else. How about beside the cabinet? You hadn't noticed before, but there's a small wooden cabinet on either side of the wide double bed, similar to the nightstand in your own room. One of them has a coaster on it and a couple of pill bottles, so you guess that anything important would be housed inside. You open the drawer and are appalled to find a stack of Polaroids of a masculine-looking winged demon creature in flirty poses on a beach. One of them has, "I'll visit you in your dreams tonight, baby," scrawled on it in English, next to a series of weird symbols in a language you've never seen. What a freak. Being attracted to that? You don't even know if you want to know what is in the rest of these drawers. Then again, come to think of it, you have no idea what this mama actually looks like. For all you know, she could be an identical behemoth sea beast. Maybe a little smaller, with some lipstick smeared on her tentacles. What a beauty queen. You shiver and try to stop imagining the two of them bumping tentacles. Gross. You carry on rummaging through the drawers, finding some toiletries and other uninteresting items until a strange metallic screeching sound fizzling from the center of the room startles you. Huh? You could have sworn that you were totally alone in this room, but you aren't so sure now. The overwhelming scent of metal fills your nose. You can hear whistling, raspy breaths from somewhere behind you, accompanied by a low mechanical screeching sound. Wait, what? Maybe coming into the proverbial belly of the beast wasn't such a bright idea after all. The only information you were able to glean is that whoever Mama is, if it's even a who, it clearly has very peculiar taste in men. Your thoughts are interrupted by a flash of a white light, catching you off guard and briefly blinding you. You turn around, rubbing your eyes, only to come face to face with a grand-looking wooden door surrounded by a writhing white-hot mass. It looks like a fairly ordinary door at first, before you notice that the wood is covered with fine veins throbbing ever so slightly. It's alive? A door? You remember the note in your pocket and quickly pull it out. Go through the door and we can go home. That's it. You refuse to be put off by the apparently organic fleshwood and reach out for the handle, but are knocked away as the radiant mass whirls around to face you. Flash. For an instant, time seems to stop. Oh, there you go. As you look in horror, though, the top part of the jaw unhinges and folds back over the face. The movement reveals a mouth almost like a lamprey but with human-looking teeth instead of sharp fangs. The creature almost seems to smile, its pale flesh contorting the round maw into a sinister oblong grin. The jaw continues straight into rounded human-like shoulders without any visible trace of a neck, and then a quivering, blubbery mass of pale white flesh below. The fat, fleshy body becomes slightly narrower further down, with a defined sternum jutting through the thin skin and more bones protruding from various places. Along each corpulent side, there are several underdeveloped limbs and fleshy stumps, giving it an overall almost centipede-like appearance, as well as the 3 or 4 thick muscular appendages you can guess to be her main mode of transport. The creature's whole body shimmers with a blinding white light that seems to be coming directly from its greasy skin. The light flashes again and again. You struggle to keep your eyes open even though it burns before eventually you can resist no longer and you crumple to the floor at the creature's stunted feet. Raw nerves in your face fizzle and snap. A searing, prickling heat envelopes you. It feels like every cell of your being is burning and alive and then nothing at all. You try desperately to keep thinking. Keep thinking. If you can think, then you're real. Keep thinking. Keep thinking. Eventually, it's no use. Your consciousness fades to black. Unfortunately, you died. What a bad day. You wake up somewhere soft and warm. The light surrounds you like vicious body temperature syrup, saturating your hair and clothes and touching all of your skin, filling up every pore. It fills up your eyes, your nose, your throat, your eyes, the gaps in your fingers, but you're not afraid. The only sound you can hear is a soft, slow pounding in both ears. Your heartbeat? It's incessant, but not annoying. Rather, it helps you keep track of the passing seconds. It's a strange but not uncomfortable sensation. You feel at ease. Is this what heaven feels like? Are you dead? Growing up, you had always pictured pretty much the standard fare mass-produced idea of heaven. White fluffy clouds, dear old ladies in hospital gowns, shuffling around arm in arm with smartly uniformed soldiers' husbands, taken before their time, now reunited with their sweethearts. Harp-toting angels, with shining golden hair and flying robes, singing forever. Infinite swirling spires, reaching up beyond where the eye could see, glowing golden palaces filled with tired souls, etc. You always imagined it feeling strange and couldn't quite believe it could be real. But this place, somehow you know. Somehow it feels like home. Are we part of the creature? But you can't stay here. Not yet. Not now. This is how it's supposed to end. You have a responsibility. Finding your way home. Not just for you, but for whoever has been looking out for you this whole time. For whoever it is that wants you to come home safe out of this strange place. A voice rings out in your head like a bell. You want to go back already? You swallow and nod. Then in that case, take care. You feel the light close in around you as though to embrace you. You can feel the love radiating from all around you and you aren't scared anymore. I'll go back. But okay. Climbed down the porch. Why not? He's trying to getting away from this place as fast as possible is the only sane option. Go back inside after that? That would be crazy. No, making your way down onto the porch and then heading for the hills is clearly the only realistic choice. Surely before long you'll run into some sign of civilization. Perhaps some nice friendly older couple shocked to see an exhausted looking kid running alone in the middle of nowhere who'll invite you in for warm milk and freshly baked cookies before calling your parents and sending you safely home. Oh yeah, that's it, safety. Okay, that's pretty unlikely. Still, you'd settle for a hovel full of mountain witches if it meant they'd call you a taxi and give you some directions. Whatever, let's just get out of here. Carefully make your way over towards the edge of the porch roof before rolling over onto your tummy. Satisfied with this, you keep up the pace, lowering your legs off the roof until you can wrap your knees around the porch's wooden support pillar and shimmy on down it. You breathe a sigh of relief when your feet hit the ground. Even landing in a prickly bush and probably acquiring several dozen splinters coming along for the ride didn't faze you one bit. Phew. Couldn't pay me to go back in that place. You relax for a moment to catch your breath. Just about trying to remember which way the path is so that you can start running in that direction when a sharp rattling sound behind the front door just meters away from you grabs your attention and jolts you back to reality. It sounds like someone or something is trying to get out. Shoot. Reasonable to assume they probably heard you running around and making a racket knocking off the roof tiles and realized you were making a break for it. No time for a look for the path. Run. Spin around and immediately take off sprinting in the opposite direction. Try to put as much distance between the ominously rattling door and yourself as possible. You reach the end of the garden quickly and vault over the fence into the cornfield. At least when whatever is making that sound does manage to break out, you'll be well hidden surrounded by all these tall stalks. Decided the best course of action for the time being is for you to just keep running in the opposite direction from the house to get as far away as possible. Eventually there has to be some sort of road or maybe a farmhouse, right? You assure yourself that there's no possible way for the cornfields could go on forever. They couldn't, right? It's only a matter of time before you run into some nice farmhand out tending his crops who knows the area well and can help you out. You start to turn to take a last brief look at the house, but decide to spin right back around and get moving. Quick, sharp, when you're almost positive you can hear the sound of footsteps rapidly approaching from in front of you in the direction of the house. You push some stalks aside, taking care not to break any, and step through the gap in between them. You're pleasantly surprised with how easily the stalks bend from your ministrations, and continue moving with this strategy for quite some time. Time passes as you make your way through the fields. You're sure you've been traveling for at least a couple of hours by now. Come to think of it though, you don't seem to have your digital watch on. Even then, judging by the gradually darkening sky, time has definitely been getting on. Being stuck out here in some creepy cornfields at night sounds like a horror movie waiting to happen, so you'd really rather not deal with that if it can be avoided. You strain on your tiptoes to try to see over the tops of the stalks, but it's no use. Green and gold stretch everywhere for miles around. Even if you could see some kind of path, you wouldn't even be certain you'd want to try it if it meant risking ending up right back at that creepy house you had come from. Unfortunately, due to the panic state you've been in, you've got absolutely no idea where you are. You'd been too busy trying to get away from the house to take bearings. It's hard to judge a straight line when you're surrounded by identical stalks of corn on every side. The realization starts to dawn on you that you really are completely lost. Even so, you try not to panic. Panicking doesn't solve anything. You look around again, trying in vain to negotiate a path through the corn. Maybe if you... No, it's no use. Darkness is beginning to set in. Decide to pick a direction at random and start walking. Even if you could just find some way to the road, you'd much rather sleep there and hope that some late-night fright driver spots you than just lay down here. You're starting to regret watching all of those previously unthreatening American horror films set on rolling green farmland. Visions of haunted scarecrows and Indian burial grounds flash through your mind. That kind of stuff is only in movies, right? Okay, relax. Time to keep walking. You're bound to find a road or something eventually, right? You take a guess as to which way you think is more likely to be north and continue your forage. Steady, just keep going and you'll find a path, right? Maybe nightfall won't be such a bad thing. You could try to spot that one star that sailors used to navigate to help you find your way. Triumphant with this plan, you decide to sit down and allow yourself to rest. The ground is surprisingly smooth and comfortable, even if it's damp and cold. You find a comfortable position, leaning against some stalks, and stretch out your legs. Okay, now, don't fall asleep. If you can stay awake long enough to see the stars come out, then maybe you can find your way. Maybe you can finally get home. Home. Your eyelids start feeling heavier and heavier as you think about how grateful you'll be for everything when you finally make it out of there. Your parents' nagging will be a warm welcome home. Your little brother's dumb pranks will be playful and fun and not at all frightening compared to this hellhole. Man, even Katie and her bitch crew could be a sight for some sore eyes right now. Filled with dreams of going back to school on Monday and actually looking forward to it for probably the first time in your life, you drift off to a peaceful sleep. Laying there in the stocks, you look like a character straight from some kind of children's book. The lazy farmhand napping on the job. Maybe tomorrow you'll wake up and this will all have been just a nasty dream. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe. You're woken by an ear-splitting metallic sound, singing in both ears, stabbing straight through your brain like a white-hot knife. Your eyes snap open straight away to figure out the source of the noise, but it's still too dark outside to see anything. There are no stars in the sky, no discernible moon. This feeling. This is like no migraine you've ever had before. Every second more of the maddening sound pierces your brain. It's impossible to get used to it. God, what is that? Suddenly you witness something small move just in the corner of your eye. You try to turn to get a closer look, but you find yourself rooted to the ground. You swivel the top half of your body around, determined to find the source of the noise and put a stop to this. When you try to push some of the corn stalks out of the way, you find your hand passes straight through them like a hologram. What? This can't be happening. Try again to push one of the stalks aside to find that the same thing happens. Oh boy, there's so much yapping. I'm gonna end it here. I'll continue it some other time when I feel like it. So this is Casey's very bad day. What is going on here? Before I try to get for yourselves, the links are in the description. That is all for today. Stay safe and take care of yourselves.